Hello everyone, welcome to Lush and Salty Aquariums. My name is Stefan. Thank you for coming to the channel. Bacopa, Copacabana, blah 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 blah, Bacopa. So, the purpose of this video, other than the usual wow wow, other than the show off aspect, is to talk about, for me anyway, a pretty significant change. I had a bunch of Vallisneria. You can see some of it still in the back there, as well as some Cryptocorn spiralis, all in this side here. And it had a nice effect looking straight on, but I could tell when I investigated here, it was a green wall 2 inches thick, and detritus and other things were beginning to collect back there. And you know, with Vallisneria, if you let it go too long, too far, it really is an intense plant in so many ways, and it's good to keep your hands on it and pull plants out and do a lot of pruning with it. I love that plant to death, and I still have it in the back there. One of the things, because it's by the outflow, flow is a big friend to blackbeard algae. So you see I have some back there, and I could see it a lot more readily when I had a ton of it right here. And I can see it now as I look at it, but because I put in this fabulous high-grade strain of Bacopa Carolina, it's actually a white variety, and while it's hinting at the white color now, with the CO2 and the quality substrate and some other benefits, maybe a little bit of luck, it will turn a whiter shade of pale, if I can use the Eric Clapton phrasing there. But even if it doesn't, it will grow straight to the top and up and out. I've seen it like that at the store where I bought it. As a matter of fact, the tops of some of these might very well have been out of the water when I bought this plant. The LFS owner gave me like 8-inch cuttings from the top down and not the entire plant, so some of the tops were already breaching the surface. It'll probably suffer a little bit before it really gets going. I just put it in yesterday, so I'm pretty happy with the early returns. And I wanted to talk about that. When it does grow up and fill out, it will block the veil to the degree that anything can, which is modest. And then I won't see the blackbeard algae. And I mean, the Vallisneria is still making its way to the front. This is the leopard veil. It's a great plant, and it loops over and lets the flow kind of push it across the top. So I'm really happy with it. I just had too much, and I knew that I needed to address it one way or the other. So I decided, rather than pull it all out from the back and create a real mess, I just took what was breaching the front of the aquarium, and now I'm going to see what happens with that stem plant. It's a completely different looking plant than anything else in here, which I think is awesome. And it frees up this corner of the tank, and you can see the SB rasboras, the lamb chop rasboras, enjoying that section in a really tight school. There's an autosynclus, and of course my juvenile marble angelfish. I did a whole video about these two angelfish. They were impulse purchases out of all places at Petco, and I mean, in particular this one, look at the finnage. Are you kidding me? For $6.99, maybe $5.99 at Petco for a fish this beautiful? How could I not buy it? I had a lot of misgivings and fears in terms of what cichlids like this can do to a system that's happy and doing super well without them. But so far, so good. And as I said in the previous video, not if, but when they get maybe not quite twice as big as this, maybe, depends, they will be rehomed into my display tank, where I have 3 adult angelfish, and so a group of 5 feels like that could be a real good move. And I'm particularly excited about what this guy turns into. The red tint on that dorsal fin, which, look at how proud and pronounced it is, and every aspect of its finnage and body shape is stunning. I'm really happy with this one. And you know, a marble is one of the most common, but it looks like it came from a similar family tree with that intense dorsal fin. The only reason it's bent right now is because it's right in front of the outflow, which is fairly strong in this aquarium, to blow all the water around and actually make some sort of dent into this plant matter. I don't have a true carpet in here. I have like variations on carpeting plants and other sort of oddball plants that comprise a pseudo carpet, if you will. Steerage and repens, which is growing a little bit tall, but I like that effect against this. I think Helferi, Pogostemon Helferi, or just a Helferi plant. It's doing really well in here. It has a almost like an aloe vera, like a cactus vibe to it. And then I removed some Blixa japonica from my 32-gallon live bearers tank, and these are 3 plantlets that I put in there. And there's some smaller Helferi. And then up and over here, Rotala indica, which I literally take sewing scissors and just snip off about 4 or 5 inches. Just take it off the top there. You can see some Brazilian pennywort, which I'm still deciding whether I prefer that in here versus just a bit of water lettuce. Maybe I have both now, but I mean, you can just pull that out easy peasy. This is Pogostemon octopus. Again, just trim it right off the top. That's a big jumble. I don't know how much of it is actually even rooted down there, but it just flat out doesn't matter. Not in this aquarium. It's anchored in place by the centerpiece driftwood and the nature of the current here, and the other plants on all sides of it keep it into a nice big puff ball. There's Anubias, and you see some green spot and blackbeard on it across the middle section. This is a cryptic corn, common variety, Wendetti probably, and there's some more of its offspring down in the back there. There's a dwarf red tiger lotus, which I think is starting to finally do its thing. You see 3 panda coreodoras just alighted atop it. There's a golden or ivory mystery snail, Autosynclus. There are shrimp in here as well. There are these rummy-nosed rasboras. Those are the males with that glorious slate gray with red noses. Completely different than the rummy-nosed tetra, but very similar looking. Not as fast schooling. They don't need as much horizontal space as the rummy nose, and a little more exotic and expensive. The females of that are these drab looking goldish fish, and I have a 2 or 3 in here. I believe no matter how drab the opposite sexes, you should have both sexes if you're keeping a school of fish. And if you're keeping fish, chances are you're better served keeping a school, ergo males and females. I don't know if that constitutes a pro tip. It just feels like that's what the fish would prefer. I mean, I didn't go to an all-male primary school or high school, and as scared as I was of girls at that stage, I still would have preferred, I did prefer having them around, and I think fish are the same way. I believe they will show better colors and behavior if they have the opposite sex to do it for. Granted, all males will spar, but I don't know if they would be as vigorous about it if they weren't jockeying for the attentions of a female. So there's the two angelfish in front of the SB rasboras. Just lovely creatures, the new Bacopa plant. Really like how the completely different texture works in concert with this gloriously organized chaos. Lush and salty aquariums, that should be my default tagline. Organized chaos. I say always keep your hands in the tank, even if that's not necessarily genius advice. It just became early on my go-to line, probably because I had my hands in the tank so much, it just became an irresistible refrain. But that being said, organized chaos, if I was going to make a brand transformation, that would be right up there in terms of language to define lush and salty aquariums. This tank is the centerpiece of my fish room. It is not my main display tank. That is out in the other room. The only other tank I have not in the fish room is the 135-gallon display tank, which is my pride and joy. But this aquarium's no slouch either. It sits on a dresser as opposed to a racking system. So that affords me some amount of space, and it picks up the motif and decor of what is also my den. I'd like to think I incorporated the technology and the more utilitarian attributes of a racking system, as well as utilizing furniture like this piece here. You see how I have the Awaze Biomaster out. You can see it, but it kind of blends into that dark fun wallpaper. And I put it into a cedar wood box, which comes from the Container Store. I have a whole bunch of these in my fish room. They're so awesome, and what a great place to put driftwood and other supplies. It looks so good. It would work in your fish room pretty much no matter what you're doing, and it looks better than plastic tubs. So good, in fact, I put my CO2 cylinder on the other side of it, so there's a bit of there's some parity there. That's the overall look. And then these lovely bronze figures given to me as a present from one of my work partners a long time ago. And they're one of my most cherished pieces of art, and like an Art Deco facade, they sit on either side of the tank. So I'm hoping that Bacopa, while I would be delighted if it did its thing and turned whitish, I would be completely satisfied if it just grew healthy and a little bit bushier and up to the surface. Then I could manage that, keep the Balasinaria at bay behind it, let the cryptocorn that had been so abused by the veil down there on the substrate, let that become a little greener, more vigorous. Good times. Okay, everybody, I hope you appreciated this, and as always, keep your hands in the tank, and ciao for now.